right, if I could get everyone's attention, we're going to get started. If you could, please silence your phones during the presentations. Thank you all for coming to our 2019 CAPS presentations. Our seniors have been working incredibly hard for the past 4 months on their internships and research projects, and we're glad to have you here today to celebrate those accomplishments. We have two great presenters this block. First off will be Sam Schwartz, talking about his time at the Newton Marriott in Auburndale, and then followed by Xander Siegelman, talking about his experience at the Massachusetts State House. So without further ado, Sam Schwartz.
Thank you. I haven't even started yet, relax. All right, how many of you have ever been on a vacation before? All right, how many of you have ever stayed in a hotel when on said vacation? All right, I think it's safe to say that we have all stayed in a hotel at least once in our lifetimes. Furthermore, we all have expectations when it comes to a night stay in a hotel. You're usually greeted by a friendly doorman who will offer to help you with your bags or simply just ask how your day is going. The front desk people will always greet you with a smile and are capable of answering any information necessary to you about the facilities or events happening for that day. When you get to your hotel room, the beds are always crisp and clean, and there is never a thing out of place. Perhaps you would like to order room service, so you call down to the front desk, and within 15 minutes, you have a fresh feast in front of you without having to move a muscle. On the surface level, things seem to be running smoothly, but what is left unnoticed is the utter chaos it takes to make every guest experience the best it can possibly be. For my capstone internship, I got to immerse myself in that chaos by working at the Boston Marriott of Newton. Working in this hotel allowed me to soak up all the information I could about the inner workings of the hospitality industry. In addition to that, I got to follow my passion and establish a base for what I hope to be as a promising career in the trade. While it may not have been all the glamour that I envisioned it, I learned some valuable lessons on my road to discovering the mentality behind hospitality. I would like to begin with talking a bit about myself, more specifically, the type of learner I am. Since the beginning of high school, I have rejected the traditional learning environment. The classroom setting didn't work for me, and I felt myself slipping through the cracks. I barely got by on my grades, and I couldn't think about my future because I was too busy trying to survive high school first. Academics aside, I'd found my calling in the food industry when I joined Miss McKinney's culinary program freshman year. Thank you, yeah. I know. Almost immediately, I knew this was something I was good at and could definitely be a possible career for me. Sophomore year, I ended up getting a job at the Chestnut Hill Sweetgreen, which was my first exposure to a high-volume restaurant setting. I thrived in this environment, and I sharpened my knowledge for the industry, as well as developed my love for customer service. I took the knowledge that I gained at Sweetgreen and carried it over to my next job, working as a food runner for a fine dining Italian restaurant. This provided me with a totally different experience of the restaurant industry, because this was a single family owned restaurant as opposed to a nationwide chain. At this restaurant, I learned the delicate fine dining standards that came with the experience, which taught me to be more precise in my work and give more attention to detail. Now you may be wondering why I'm laying out my resume for you today, and no, it is not because I'm looking for job offers, but because I think it believes that it shows that I have progressed in the industry, and all of this experience has culminated into my internship at the Boston Marriott. During my junior year, I'd felt a desperate need for a change in my routine. I had no motivation to learn and had pretty much given up on myself as a student. Every class was an excuse of coming up for why I had not done my homework the night before, and then sitting at my desk with my eyes glazed for 55 minutes. This was when I knew that I couldn't function in a traditional learning environment, and this took a toll on my well-being considering my parents, my town, and my society had made academics an absolute priority for me since my first day of kindergarten. I had heard a little bit about the capstone program. Oh, yeah, that was my image. I had heard a little bit about the capstone program, but only had surface level knowledge of what it really was. I knew that you could basically drop all of your classes, so I signed up, not really knowing what I was in for. I had already established the internship at the Boston Marriott through my good friend Noah. He's in the back right there. He had done the internship the year before and had recommended me for the position. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for Noah, and I really appreciate him and admire his passion for hospitality. After interviewing with the Director of Human Resources, Cynthia, I was offered my first job as an expediter in the restaurant attached to the side of the hotel. There's something very interesting that Cynthia told me during my orientation into the Boston Marriott. She told me that when I first interviewed here, you waited at a table in a chair before I even arrived. And when I did arrive, I checked to see if you pushed that chair in when you stood to greet me to begin the interview. For me, that is 50% of the interview. Pushing in your chair, holding the door for others, those are the little things that I think matter more about your character than anything. The other 50% is how I feel you are as a person and as an employee. I think that this is a really good metaphor for how an excellent employee in the hospitality industry must think. Doing the little things must be involuntary, like pushing the chair in, which I did, of course. This is because the little things that add to the guest experience to ensure a quality stay. While the bigger picture does seem almost larger than life, I had to practically start on the lowest rung before I could actually make a difference with a person. Being an expediter, my hours were 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., which was basically toasting bread for orders and making oatmeal. While this was funny to think about being my capstone project, I was eager to dive deeper into the heart of the hospitality business. So I went to my manager and asked if I could take on greater responsibilities. Next thing you know, Food Runner was added to the resume. That gave me a little bit more insight into how the actual hotel was operated, and it was kind of fun bringing the food to the door, seeing if I would get a couple ones, though that wasn't very often. After a few weeks of room service, they offered me the position of concierge lounge attendant. This is what I currently do, which is basically maintaining a bar and buffet for the elite level Marriott members. This opportunity was not only a step up in the Marriott hierarchy, but it also provided me with an opportunity to tell my story and talk to guests. And all of this networking actually ended up paying off for me 2 days ago. After some small talk with a random Marriott guest, she had told me that she was visiting from Las Vegas. After I had told her my future plans for next year, she handed me her business card and told me that she was the vice president of brand marketing for a company called Earl Enterprises. This is a hospitality and restaurant consulting corporation that owns numerous properties in Las Vegas, like the Planet Hollywood Hotel, Earl of Sandwich, and Tequila Taqueria. After telling me that she admired my drive and eagerness to learn, I was told to send her an email as soon as I moved out west to establish an internship and hopefully some other amazing opportunities. This is a prime example that shows opportunity can come from anywhere if you are assertive and are always advocating for yourself. I was able to gain experience in the kitchen, in the restaurant, and in the front office departments. In addition to that, I had the pleasure of working under a variety of different people, like the executive chef, the director of food and beverage, and many more people that guided me in the beginning and were always helpful. This not only helped me with my confidence, but also boosted my desire to continue my education in hospitality. The journey just doesn't end at the Marriott for me. I plan on attending the William F. Harris School of Hospitality at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas for the next 4 years. This is a world-renowned program and is considered to be one of the top hospitality schools in the country. Not only that, but I am moving out there in less than a month to work for the UNLV School's affiliated catering company. I will be working under the executive chef of the hospitality school this summer before I even enroll. And by doing this, I'm also qualifying for in-state tuition for the next 4 years. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully all of this knowledge that I accumulate will lead to a life in either the hotel or the casino business, which is something that I felt that I've been ready for since I was 17, give or take. With that being said, it all started out of my internship with the Marriott and the opportunity that Capstone gave to me. It is really hard to put what working in a hotel truly is like into words, but I feel like I captured the essence when I was volunteered to be the Easter Bunny at our, yeah, it's awesome, to be the Easter Bunny at the Marriott's annual Easter brunch. What an interesting day this was for me. I would say mixed emotions and all. On one hand, I really liked being the center of attention, and I also liked tricking kids into believing I was the actual Easter Bunny. I did get one of those, but she was probably 4 years old if that counts. On the other hand, I was in a hotbox for about 5 hours with probably about 60% visibility. However, this taught me to be a team player, fulfill a role, and master the art of the mascot. While it was really fun interacting with guests of the hotel, the real culture I wanted to submerge myself in was the employees. This was by far the most diverse group of people that I have ever been a part of. The Boston Marriott has over 300 employees from over 15 different countries. when I was just starting off as an expediter, I was the only white person in the area where I worked. One person that really spoke to me during my time at the Marriott was my good friend, Smitty. He's a 65-year-old man from Haiti who has been a dishwasher at the Marriott for 42 years. Now, he doesn't really talk that much, but with that being said, he's probably one of the friendliest people that I will ever meet. Every morning at 6 a.m., I would walk up from the locker room, half asleep, and he would be the first person that I would see every day. And the best part about him was, me and him had this thing, and I can't really remember who started it. I would walk up from the locker room, and he would stand at attention, salute me, and go, "Yes, sir." And I would stand at attention, salute him back, and go, "Yes, sir." And then we did this little march thing like this, and we went about our separate ways. This had to be, hands down, my favorite experience that I had at the Marriott. This had to be the favorite experience that I had at the Marriott. It is so minute and so meaningless, but when do you see a 65-year-old man from Haiti and an 18-year-old from Newton North joking around like that? It is something truly unique, and I got to experience the interactions like these constantly, every day. Each and every one of my coworkers had their own stories, beliefs, and values. Everybody came from different cultures, which made for some very interesting stories, as well as me knowing when to choose my words very carefully. With all the craziness going on in the world based off irrational, ignorant beliefs, it was refreshing being placed in an environment where it was just a bunch of people trying to clock in and clock out and pass the time until they could go home and go about their separate ways. There's no stigma, it's just a melting pot of people trying to get their money. I gained a different kind of experience when working at the Marriott, one that can only be experienced through experiencing life and the working world firsthand. A really big takeaway that came from my time there is that some people just suck. Trust me, it is my job to be around people, and unfortunately, it is a fact that is unavoidable. They come in all shapes and sizes, from a middle-aged woman who had one too many mimosas, who wanted to get a little frisky with the Easter Bunny. You can ask me about that one after the speech. I'm trying to keep it in the PG-13 range. To trying to deliver a bowl of oatmeal to the man at the Brown University's table in a plaid shirt. This was the description I was given as I was sent into a function room with over 200 ballroom dancing couples with the hopes of delivering the food. You can't control how people are going to act. The only thing that you can control is how you react. And in the hospitality industry, especially hotels, your job is on the line if you react poorly. This helped me to be very compromising, which is a valuable skill to have in the real world. Considering all the real-world skills that I acquired and developed during my capstone internship, it is really difficult for me to stand here in front of you today and tell you that I agree with the current public education system. It isn't fair to me to say that it failed everyone, but I know I cannot be the only kid in here right now that feels that there is more to life than in textbooks and in SAT scores. CAPS provided me with the support that I needed to learn the way I wanted to learn, which ended up being through hospitality. Hotels gave me my direction in life, but I am a firm believer that anybody can find their version of a hotel. And by that, I mean finding your passion or direction and just going with it. Because it is proven that the best way to learn something is by totally immersing yourself in it and doing it as soon as you can. Which brings me to the quote that you have been looking at for the past 5 minutes on the screen behind me. It's never too early to start your career path, and it is never too late to change it. If you're a freshman looking at me right now, you're probably bored out of your mind. But maybe some of what I'm saying is speaking to you. There is nothing stopping you from finding your direction. The only thing that's stopping you